Let us continue reading this book by Uriah Smith, Daniel and Revelation 1897. We are reading Revelation chapter 6, verses 12 to 17, and the comments from Uriah Smith, a non-Trinitarian Seventh-day Adventist pioneer. My Father in heaven, I thank you for this temporal freedom, this preparation day. I pray that your people will be awakened and they will be steadfast in the truth. And those that are attacking the truth, may you judge them according to your will, Father, that you have committed to your Son. And in his name I pray, Jesus the Messiah. Amen. Uriah Smith comments, the darkening of the sun. Following the earthquake, it is announced that the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. This portion of the prediction has also been fulfilled into a detailed account of the wonderful darkening of the sun. May 19, 1780. We need not here enter. Most persons of general reading, it is presumed, have seen some account of it. The following detached declarations from different authorities will give an idea of its nature. The dark day of Northern America was one of those wonderful phenomena of nature which will always be read of with interest, but which philosophy is at a loss to explain. Herschel. In the month of May 1780, there was a terrible dark day in New England when all faces seemed to gather blackness, and the people were filled with fear. There was a great distress in the village where Edward Lee lived, men's hearts failing them for fear. And the judgment day was at hand, and the neighbors all flocked around the holy man, who spent the gloomy hours in earnest prayer for the distressed multitude. Tract number 379, American Tract Society Life of Edward Lee. Candles were lighted in many houses. Birds were silent and disappeared. Fowls retired to roast. It was the general opinion in the day of judgment was at hand. President Dwight in the historical collections. The darkness was such as to occasion farmers to leave their work in the field and retire to their dwellings. Lights became necessary to the transaction of business within doors. The darkness continued through the day. Gage's History of Bali, Massachusetts. Rowley. The cocks crew at daybreak, and everything bore the appearance and gloom of night. The alarm produced by this unusual aspect of the heavens was very great. Portsmouth Journal, May 20, 1843. It was midnight darkness at noonday. Thousands of people who could not account for it from natural causes were greatly terrified. And indeed, it cast a universal gloom on the earth. The frogs and nighthawks began their notes. Dr. Adams. Similar days have occasionally been known, though inferior in the degree or extent of their darkness. The causes of these phenomena are unknown. They certainly were not the result of eclipses. Seer's Guide to Knowledge. Almost, if not altogether alone, is the most mysterious and yet unexplained phenomenon of its kind in nature's diversified range of events during the last century stands the dark day of May 19th, 1780, a most unaccountable darkening of the whole visible heavens and atmosphere in New England, which brought intense alarm and distress to multitudes of minds, as well as dismay to the brute creation. The fowls fleeing, bewildered to their roots, and the birds to their nests, and the cattle returning to their stalls. Indeed, thousands of the good people of that day became fully convinced that the end of all things terrestrial had come. The extent of this darkness was also very remarkable. It was observed at the most easterly regions of New England, westward to the farthest parts of Connecticut and at Albany. To the southward, it was observed all along the sea coast, and to the north, as far as the American settlements extended, it probably far exceeded these boundaries. But the exact limits were never possibly known. Our First Century by R.M. Devon's, pages 89 to 90. The poet Whittier thus speaks of this event. 'Twas on a May day of the far old year, 1780, that there fell over the bloom and sweet life of the spring, over the fresh earth in the heaven of noon, a horror of great darkness, like the night and the day of which the Norland sages tell. The twilight of the gods, the low-hung sky was black with ominous clouds, save where its rim was fringed with a dull glow, like that which climbs the crater's sides from the red hell below. Birds ceased to sing, and all the barnyards fowls roosted. The cattle at the pasture bars lowed and looked homeward. Bats on leathern wings flitted abroad. The sounds of labor died. Men prayed and women wept. All ears grew sharp to hear the doom blast of the trumpet shatter. The black sky, that the dreadful face of Christ might look from the rent clouds, not as he looked a loving guest in Bethany, but stern as justice and exorable law. We'll read the next paragraph the next time. May God our Father bless you and His Son be gracious to you now and forever.